Hey everybody, welcome to Android Coliseum, the Hangout show. This is number 106. It is March 18th, a Wednesday, middle of the week, and yeah, time to celebrate the downward slope of the work cycle. I don't know about you. I think you were saying earlier, Martin, your work's just been crazy for you.
I have just been swamped with like all these projects that need to get done very shortly, and there's really no time in the day to get anything done.
Same here. I was just mentioning to somebody today, I felt Friday. Like all the heavy lifting had already been done. You're like, okay, well, glad this week is over. Oh, no, it's not. But
Yeah,
for
do get
that
that
sense, it's
lucky.
yeah, it's been that sense. It's been kind of hard to keep on track of what's been going on in the Android world, but at the same time, we filled a pretty big list here of topics to go through of
We
what is
did.
going on in the Android realm. As much as it really seems there hasn't been, and there's been a lot actually. So,
There's been
what do you
quite a
think?
bit, yeah.
Yeah, take it off, Martin. You just go ahead and
All right. Well, one of the few elements that we've had lately with the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge, and Samsung's got two new style coming up shortly, which won't be available in Canada. We got gold, platinum, and pink. For some odd reason, there's going to be a pink version available as well, and it's going to be applied to the both Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge. So if you're looking to get gold, platinum, or pink, they will be available in Canada shortly. With that said, too, we've got uh, another device that Siobhan has reviewed called the Moto E, and it's the LTE version, which is also available in Canada, and the starting price is $150. So if you're a Moto fan and you know you want your LTE, the Moto E is out there. It's a pretty slick device. I mean, I can't complain. I've used it a few times, and it's been really solid so far. And also, another device that was released is the Rogers mid-range LG G3 Vigor. Mid-range, kind of a smaller device than your typical LG G3, but it should suffice it for anybody that wants looking for not a top-end device because you can't afford it for any reason. This is mid-range, so you're looking at best you'll be able to do the normal stuff you're doing with it. A lot of the users are not power users, so you're not looking at doing what you can do like with a top end device, which will suffice for your need. And if I keep looking at what we got some interesting news in regards to S5 in Canada for with Rogers. Rogers has decided to put an alt to the S5, and to that, uh, there was something interesting, and they were naming bugs related that were causing issues with the device into updating the device, where it would just crash and it would create boot loop afterward. So they've put a complete stop to that. As far as Rogers is concerned, the Galaxy S5 will not get Lollipop. And Ryan, you had a comment about the LG G3 Vigor.
sorry, yeah, just to go back a little bit with the G3 Vigor. For those unaware of the Vigor, think of it as like the S, the S4, the S4 Mini. This
Yeah,
is like the G3 Mini in terms
it's
of
like a
specs.
compact version.
I always don't quite get why. I mean, they give it a term like Vigor, but it's so under vigorous. I mean, compared to the G3 itself, it is such an
And
underwhelming
that's what
device.
I
I
wanted
mean,
to ask you. Why would they go with Vigor, as it's not a flagship phone? What are they trying to do to just like kind of like broadcast the mid-range to people? So it's like, hey, we got a good device. It's not top end, but you should have it.
yeah, I mean, I totally get the mini devices like the S4 Mini, the S3 Minis were just super popular for the time, right? A lot of people picked them up, and but I don't understand why they would have these devices, give them the name of the flagship, the S3, the G3, and then make it a mini version. So it's to me, it's kind of almost like false advertising. I'm getting the G3 bigger. It's like the G3, but a little bit smaller. I'm like, well, it's smaller in every way.
Yeah,
You
they've
know,
cut down
whereas
half the specs.
that's why I really respect Sony because when they say, "Oh, here's the Sony Z3," the Z3 Compact, it's the exact same internals and guts, just a smaller case. It's really a little display with a little bit different. But I mean, it's not a downgraded processor. It's not less ROM, not less or RAM, not less storage like the other ones. But I mean, I get it. I just wished they had dropped the price a little bit to put it a little bit closer to the Moto E in terms of like make it competitive there.
Yeah, it's definitely not competitive. And if you look at what the Moto E has to offer, I mean, LG G3 Vigor, Moto E. Which one am I going to take? Well, the Moto E makes more sense at this point.
Well, at 150 bucks, it definitely does versus 300 bucks for the G3
Exactly.
Vigor. But I mean, little things. A friend of mine has the G, the Moto G, right? And little things that he has, and I go, oh, okay, well, we'll just use NFC beam to. Oh, it doesn't have NFC. But I don't think the Moto E has it as well. So little things that I mean, obviously, for 99% of the population, they'll never notice it. So I guess that's fine, but it sends for most people. But again,
And that's really it. I mean, it's going to come down to what you're going to be using it for, and it's going to hit a certain market. You're going to tap a certain market. Obviously, it's not the high range run, so
well, yeah, that's looking at people who probably even don't want to use data. That's why they have the talk and text plan, and it's only 150 bucks at that point, right? So
and they just want the phone for the few functions they'll be using it for.
exactly. Now, a question about also about the S5. So you're saying officially, even though we're seeing S5 Lollipop on other devices, and I just put a note in
Yep.
there that the S4 is now starting to get Lollipop to other countries, so potentially S4 Lollipop could be rolling out. But
We
according to saying to Rogers is that it doesn't work entirely, and
yeah.
therefore they're just not going to do it. So
As far as the last message I saw from Rogers, they completely canned it.
we'll have to get on the horn and see if we can get somebody to get an answer on this because
We need more information because so far it's just been said, hey, we found bugs, we can't fix them, and we're just going to can it for now.
see, and
But
that's
they haven't said for how long, if they're working on it. There's no extra information I could find.
right, and we know the S5 can get Lollipop. We've seen it in
Mhm.
other countries. So is it something that just Rogers is doing? And have we heard the same from anybody from like Bell or Telus who had the S5 as well?
And that's the thing with Bell and Telus, we've got no roadmap for the lollipop so far as I can see.
Yeah, it's been kind of
So
quiet.
maybe
So
maybe Rogers admitting that there's an issue, they just canceled it, and then the other carriers are just waiting. I
well,
don't
let
know.
Rogers figure it out.
Yeah, exactly,
Same
right?
devices, right? It's not this. It's not like it's a different make and model. It's the exact same. It's just that it. Anyways, I just think
Yeah.
it's a bit of BS on Rogers. Got to be a little more transparent to us. What's going on? Come on,
Yeah,
guys.
we haven't received official notice directly from Rogers, so it's been reported from various other websites and sources. But as far as I can tell, even Rogers are not even commenting on it. So there might be something going on.
Yeah, we can't operate in the dark, Rogers. Give us something
Yeah,
to go on, especially for those S5 users out there. All right,
there's quite a few.
cool. All right, you got one more to go. The Z2.
Yeah, we've got the Z2 and the Z3. We'll combine both because right now both of these devices are being released over in the Baltic and the Nordic countries, which is in Europe, and that's their test bed. So we're looking at the Z2, the Z3, the compact, the Z2 tablet, Z2 tablet. All these devices, the Z2, Z3, they're all receiving their Lollipop at this moment. But here's the kicker: they're receiving Lollipop 5.0.2, not 5.1. 5.0.2. But here in Canada, we've been labeled to get 5.1. So what's going on exactly? I'm not sure. But Lollipop is rolling out, so we should see something shortly.
And the 5.1 issue isn't really that big of an issue. Like, it's not really that big of a rollout. It added a couple of features, and we're starting to hear some issues with Wi-Fi is a bigger issue in terms of 5.1. So I
And
don't
with
think it's a big
battery.
issue for me to get 5.1. I'll wait till we get 5.1.1 or something. I
But
mean,
I
my
heard,
G3 only came with 501, right? Versus
yeah.
not 502. So I'm
But
okay to wait. But one thing I want to ask you, you said because I heard Z3 had Lollipop and it was already posted on their website. But as you were saying, Z3 when they post the Lollipop early builds, it's only an AOSP build.
yep, they thought the binary AOSP available for both Z2, Z3. So I'm hopefully the actual Sony firmware is being pushed to everybody with the proper software and whatnot. But I mean, the noted issue I've seen a lot with the 502 is a lot of people are complaining about the batteries and whatnot and some settings. So hopefully 5.1 will work perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, not that I want to say, oh, it's really good of Apple to release one update and that's about it. It's always weird to see that, like when KitKat came out, it was 4.4, and then there was 4.41, and then there was 4.42, 4.2. So as somebody would get 4.4,
Yeah.
Google would have 4.4.2, and you're like, you know what? Like, how difficult is it for a carrier like, for example, Rogers, who's obviously having issues pushing out updates, to have to try to adapt for a .2 increase or whatever like that? How, do you think they're really going to go through the effort, or they're probably wait for the bigger build or whatever? So I really think Google should find a way that these smaller incremental builds can be somehow adapted or make it easier for a carrier to do that. And that's what I hear 5.1 is supposed to be starting to do, is it makes it easier for carriers to integrate or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, if they make it incremental, it's less stressful for the carrier to actually, instead of pushing a full build, just push what is needed to be changed.
Yeah, and I know nothing about builds and all that kind of stuff to see whether or not that actually is easier for them in the long run or what. But to me, it just sounds like, I can think Rogers going, oh, 5.0 no 5.0.1. We just, and then when I got 5.0.2, oh, we already went through all the headache to get 5.0.1. I can't see them wanting to even think about looking at the .2. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I think it should definitely a little bit maybe more on Android's end to be starting to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that they should fix it for it, do all that work, and put the Rogers stuff in. I think also that that Rogers stuff should be gone anyways. But
Quite true.
anyways, okay, I'll take over from here, and I got the rest of the topics here. So a little while ago, I told you about Derek Ross being getting to go to South by Southwest for Yahoo's Fanboy Smartphone Challenge, and he was representing Android, and he was against some guy named John Foley, who was going to represent iOS. And I always laughed because it was just the two, just iPhone and Android, no BlackBerry, no Windows Phone in there. But unfortunately, Derek Ross didn't do us proud, and he lost. But at the same time, I'm sure he gave it his best bet. But if you click the link and you follow through, it really wasn't really a smartphone challenge or a fanboy challenge, I guess you could say, because it was really about how fast can you take a selfie and post it and put a hashtag on it, or how fast can you do things. And one thing I was kind of surprised about was he was saying that actually they said that Siri beat Google Now, when we've seen millions of posts out there where Siri has just been humiliated by Google Now. So we have heard issues that for Derek to want to use his Nexus 6 and to display it on the screen as well, he was basically casting his screen to a Chromecast for display, and therefore it may have caused some issues with Wi-Fi, and therefore may have caused issues with Siri or with Google Now being able to pick up the Wi-Fi signal to be able to probably produce his answer. So, not that I'm making excuses, but it is what it is. I'm sure Derek had a great time and all the well, and I'd love to see if there's ever a video of this stuff. So, Martin, you had a thought about the Fanboy Challenge?
Yeah, I mean, in real life, if you were to be outside on the street and you were to pit an iPhone and an Android device, you know what? The Android device wins pretty much every time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a fanboy or not. It doesn't matter if you hate iOS or if you hate Android. It's a fact of things. If you put an iOS device and an Android on the street with the same person, Android wins pretty much every time.
See, that's what I would love to be able to try to do. And I think it would be kind of cool to even just grab two people and be like, okay, let's do this. Or even grab somebody and say, here's an Android phone, do this. And who is maybe an iOS user, and then grab somebody who's an Android user and here's an iPhone. See if you can do that. See how fast either.
And I would put it to the point where where you should be able to do some elements, regardless if you're iOS or Android. So open up your file manager and start an FTP server.
Yeah, you can't do that.
There's no way iOS can do that.
No. I remember the first time I had my real first introduction to iOS. I mean, I've used it a little bit here and there, friends' phones. But I volunteered to help older folks essentially use their iPads at the library. Mm-hmm. And I was in there. I'm like, well, I don't know how to use iPads per se, but I'll take a look at it. And he was like, okay, so my daughter will send me something in Dropbox, and now I want to email that. And like, okay, well, if there's an option or I'm going to be emailed a picture and I want to put it in my Dropbox and like look at the picture and like, how do you save this picture? It's like, I don't know how you can do that. I'm like, iOS doesn't let you do that? Wow. Like, it just blew my mind that you couldn't do some of the simple things.
Or another simple thing, you want to grab a file from your PC and put it on your phone. Well, if you're not going through the cloud service, well, do what we do. I'm on my Wi-Fi. I'm like, oh, grab the file from my PC, put it on my phone. Try to do that with an iOS device. Doesn't even know it's on Wi-Fi. It doesn't even see anything on the Wi-Fi. So, like, really, come on, basic stuff. Come on.
Anyways, we could bash them all night long.
Oh, I mean,
We
I could have an hour conversation and just keep
Well,
hammering
I
it.
mean, I imagine,
The
in
nail's in the coffin. Trust me.
your deployment range and your work, I'm sure you know all the headaches and hassles.
I mean, I have Blackberries, I have Windows Phone, I have Android phones, and I have iOS phones. I work with them. So you know what? Uh, most people in the workplace don't want to use their iOS device because they can't do anything. But outside of work, they love it. But when it comes to work, they don't want to use it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyways, on to more smartphone fanboy stuff, especially if you're an Android fanboy. Google I/O is taking registrations up till tomorrow. Now, I say registrations, I really mean the chance to register, because what you do is you put your intent to you want to go, and they'll have a magic algorithm where they'll pick a random number of people that actually ask to go. I mean, I guess the idea here is that so many people, tech bloggers and stuff, will want to go to Android or Google I/O, and because they're going to get maybe some free stuff. But really, it's really about the developers of the Android I/O or Google I/O and the Android services you're going to learn about. So the really people who should be there are the developers, and I think we saw that last year where it was not a lot of device announcements or device things or talking about this and that. It was really, okay, here's the start of Android Wear. All right, this is what's going to happen. Here's these new features that we're going to have in Google Play services. Here's these new features we're going to see in Google Plus. So here's all these different levels. Now go and make cool things with it, right? Doesn't matter what device you're on, just go make cool stuff with it. So yeah, your thoughts on that, Martin?
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to be bashing the media about this. The media is putting an access to I/O, Google I/O, where they're looking to see if Google's going to release any new hardware material specifically. And Google I/O is really not about that. It's a developer conference about what new services and what new coding material is coming out that's related to Google. And this is where the media is spitting up, oh, are we going to see these devices? Or are we going to get this type of hardware? And I'm like, no,
Next is going to be announced? Well,
exactly. And no, it's all about development. So people that sit at their computer 24 hours a day, black screen, coding stuff on it. Yeah, and they're on Linux most of the time.
yeah. So anyways, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I know I will be eagerly watching the videos as they come through and trying to hear, because I always like hearing, like, it was really cool to see, Android Auto last year, that kind of stuff. So they're really cool. Yeah, and talking about going to events and about an event like DroidCon in Montreal that you get to go
Same
to. That's
thing. It's really acts towards developers, and it's the first time we're going to have a huge event in Canada, such as DroidCon. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. I'm so jealous to get to go. I just don't have any contacts, and yeah, give
The
me a
VR
cardboard.
cardboard, yeah, I know, right?
And the cardboard option, that'd be cool. I've been trying to look online, and cheapest ones are about like $15, but then it's like $15 for shipping. So it's like,
I mean, if there are some, and if I see them, I'll grab a couple.
if you can, I'll pay for the shipping.
I'll just tuck them in my bag. Or worst case, I'll just ask Mike. He's one of the speakers. Mike,
Yeah,
grab some. Grab some.
he should get some swag for being a speaker,
Right?
right? Yeah, yeah. Just give him a shot of vodka when you go. Wasn't it what? Was it vodka?
No, he likes his beer, so.
Go ahead. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. So on to other things. So the OnePlus One is finally getting a lollipop. So for all those people who bought the OnePlus One, think, I'm on CyanogenMod, and CyanogenMod gets all the fastest updates, and in some cases faster updates than a Nexus device. And it's been unstuck on CyanogenMod 11S for a long time. It hasn't had lollipop, which is, I mean, it puts it in the same realm of the Galaxy S5 or other devices, the HTC One. Well, even the M8's got lollipop, right? The M7 doesn't, right? But
Yep.
so now it's officially going to be getting a lollipop. OnePlus has given itself a deadline that it's going to have the lollipop update uh, for CyanogenMod 12S on March 27th. Now, March 27th is 2 days after they'll release the ROM for their Oxygen OS. So their hope is that Oxygen OS will come out, and people will go like, no, I'm waiting for CyanogenMod 12. I don't know if I can wait 2 days. I'll try Oxygen OS and try and get them to move over into Oxygen OS. So we'll see if that works. And the neat thing about this is that, I don't know, a neat thing, but OnePlus has set themselves at least a deadline, and they said if we don't meet our deadline, we'll give away 4 phones. Which then you look at it and go like, give away to 4 random people a phone. That's your punishment. I'm pretty sure that doesn't cost you anything. But anyways, at least it's good to see a date. That's what I really like about HTC when they say, here's our 90-day deadline. We're going to try to hit that. And they'll be very transparent about that, at least, to say where they're at the issue. Your thoughts on the OnePlus issue?
Oh, the Run Plus issue is like a train wreck all over again.
OnePlus has lots of issues.
Yeah. So with the OnePlus, I mean, a lot of the problems is that their build is on Cyanogen, and their entanglement with Cyanogen is pretty much to a brink of non-existence anymore. So getting a proper build running for them was more complicated than expected. I mean, especially when they wanted to get it working for Lollipop. So there was a lot that they had to do, and a lot of hours and a lot of extra manpower they had to put in to get it working. Now it's in distribution. Now it's going to get updated. But like Ryan said, Oxygen's coming out. I'm like, if we screw Cyanogen, I want to try Oxygen. I actually want to give that baby a kick. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Which is kind of an Android, essentially.
Yep. And if it flies, it flies, or if it crashes, it crashes. And my fingers is crossed on crash and burn.
Yeah?
Yep, totally.
See, I'm kind of personally thinking away from CyanogenMod these days myself. I don't know. That CyanogenMod has been kind of...
Douchey?
Yeah, that's the word I use, douchey.
Yeah. But although the CEO of Cyanogen has been a real dick, and I'll say it.
Not Steve, but that Kurt McMahon.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And you know what? You just don't burn your bridges like that, because then it's going to come back and bite you at some point.
Well, it makes you wonder, because like we heard in the news the other day that Microsoft was going to be investing in CyanogenMod and then pulls out or didn't go through the last round. Could that have something to do with the fact that, the guy is kind of a dick? I can see him burning that bridge pretty quickly.
And the
wrong time and come like.
And the web went up in flames about it, and they were like, "Dude, don't do that! Like, really?" And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's just funny because I had the OnePlus. Sylvain has the OnePlus. I didn't have a great experience with it, but when I did that infographic the other day with like comparing some of the next devices, the flagship devices, I can't tell you how many people actually like sort of burned me on how come the OnePlus One isn't on that list. So well, it's not really a flagship device. It's not really one that's carried out a carrier, like in terms of being able to freely and available to get it. But it was just so like the number of people that were asking about it, and I was so amazed that I actually saw one in the wild. It was so kind of somewhat refreshing. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you. We cannot add it as a flagship device. One simple reason: 99.9% of the population are going to get the device from a carrier. OnePlus One is not a carrier, not widely available, and a lot of the people will not go ahead and spend $500 just to get a device. They will go to the store, grab the device that's $50 off the shelf for a 2-year contract. It's exactly what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, because you can't go anywhere and play with this thing first to see whether I want to get it, right?
Exactly. So they're just going to grab a phone that's available at the carrier. And until OnePlus One gets a carrier space, not going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to take a long time to get. Okay, moving along, just looking at the time. So give us your thoughts on the OnePlus One scenario, guys. Moving along here, let's take a look. We also have Inbox for Google Apps has come out. And we won't talk about Inbox ourselves. Martin and I have our opinions on Inbox, and apparently it's not quite the norm. But it's not always meant for everybody either. So But if you have Google Apps and you want it inbox, you can now get that automatically. Okay, I'll let you have the one comment on that. Let's see.
For people that want to know what Inbox is, just look at Inbox as a document management system. It will filter out everything for you. You may not agree with it, but that's how it works.
Yeah, it's. I know I haven't been quite trained on it yet, so I almost threw it up, but I'm going to keep it just for a little bit longer. We talked last week about how the Google Play Store has been updated for the devices. So store.google.com now has a nice material refresh. So they have a deal on right now where if you buy the Nexus 6, Nexus 9, most of the Sony or most of the watches, you can get a $50 Google Play credit, which is gets a couple movies, a couple music, a bunch of apps, a bunch of in-app games. So $50 can go a long way. And even the Sony smartwatch has a $50 off right now. And I thought it was pretty cool because one of the few rare times that there's a deal announced by Google and Canadians get to take advantage of it too. So that's available right now. So if you've been waiting to pick up one of those bigger devices, now's a pretty good time if you've been waiting to pull the trigger. Speaking of the Google Play Store, I'm going to jump a topic and talk about the idea that apparently now Google Play is now going to have a better previewing system. So they're actually going to have people previewing all the apps that come through, including updates, to make sure that they're sort of in line with what they should be. They're not false. And they're going to have better content rating in terms of telling you what this is about, that app is about. Because I can't tell you how many times I pick up my son's phone and he's like, "Oh, I picked up this new game. Why don't my phone's running so slow?" And it's not Sonic Run, it's Sonica Run or something like that. It's spelled slightly different, Sonic with a Y or something, and it's like, dang, it's not a real app, it's a fake app, and I have to uninstall it. You're just like, why would people make an app like that? Obviously to prey on somebody who didn't know any better and to try to get all the advertising they can out of it. Like it's just horrendous. So that's hopefully something going to be changed the next little while. The last little bit I want to talk about, we just came out today, we heard, was Nintendo has announced they're going to start developing for mobile devices, so Android and iOS, through a company called DNA. And DNA, we might know as in terms of mobile development, as a company called Mobage. They've done a lot of games out there as well. So they're going to be start developing games for Android and iOS. Now they've said they're not going to develop their premium line of stuff like the Super Mario Brothers stuff or those kind of brand names for it, but they're going to start developing something for it. Maybe adjuncts or parts to some of those other things, but the premium experience will still be on their console games. But I mean, you can't argue that this is potentially the way it might go. That eventually they might look at just developing entirely. I don't know how true that is, but I can just easily see people making a lot of money on it because how many people now have devices versus having a console? It seems to be getting less and less, right? Your thoughts on
Yeah,
that, Martin?
very much so. I mean, a lot more people are using their mobile devices or their tablets as a gaming console. I mean, we've got the NVIDIA Shield, which is actually very widespread now, and it's not like I see them in the wild. I actually see them frequently. And people are just gaming on those as if they were console platform games and whatnot. So it's very possible that this might be a test bed for Nintendo.
And that's supposedly what it's supposed to be, right? So they're going to be working with DNA to help them do the development. I mean, I can't see them shove off decades of developing for their own platform and developing their own system to be just brushed aside for whatever the thing of the day is. Whether it's Android or iOS or Windows Mobile or Firefox, who never knows what the next thing is when they develop all that stuff. But at the same time, if that's where people are going, why not go there too? And just again, like I said, they say their premium experiences for on their premium console, right? People playing on their phones, yeah, they're probably playing Candy Crushes and little lame games like that, right? Or flinging birds around. But when I want to go play, heavier games, heavier intensive games, then I'll go to the console. But there's a lot of people like myself who don't go to the console at all because I don't game with that much. I mean, but I will game on my phone. I want that lighter experience. So, anyways, you had a last comment or?
Yep, and if you think about it, I mean, now that the tablets and the phone are pretty much surpassing what the console has in terms of power, it just makes sense that they would actually just do a test bed and go that route as well. But taking that into account, Nintendo was supposed to release their next console very shortly as well.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of next console or doing a test bed, it's not on the list here, but I thought it was interesting. We were hearing just before the show was Microsoft building a custom Android ROM. Sorry, a custom Windows ROM to run on Android phones.
Yep.
And first up is was it Xiaomi?
Yep.
Who's going to be so their Xiaomi M2 or whatever it is going to be running a custom Windows 10 build. And so I just thought maybe a last thought is, would you run Windows 10 or some sort of custom on your device you have now?
I'm not sure I would, but this would mean that you would have to be running a Linux kernel, which is interesting because Windows is not Linux based.
And that's what I don't know, like how they would run that through, like as an entirely different build entirely, or I don't know. But I thought it was kind of interesting. It's one of those things like Microsoft's paid a lot to buy the Nokia, right? Well, not that much, probably not as much as they should have had to, that whole. But I mean, in the same sense, I mean, is this them giving up in a sense to say, well, fine, we'll just build a version of Windows and put on whatever device you want.
And here's where I want to comment. I haven't seen a whole lot of Nokia devices out anywhere, even at carriers. So what am I missing?
At when it's a store I worked at, we would have shelves of iPhones, a good sized shelf of all the Android phones and all the offerings they had there, and in a little corner there'd be the Nokia 1020 and a couple 520s. Like 4 in stock versus hundreds in stock of other ones, right?
Yeah.
It's just not as popular. I don't know.
This is why I'm wondering is, what is Microsoft doing?
Playing a dangerous game.
So
Palmer's out, so who knows? New guy at the helm.
Yep. On that note, I think it's pretty much the end of our show.
That is the end of our show. It's like the end of Windows Home Phone, hopefully. Anyways, that's the end of the show. It is 10:32 by my clock here. 10:32 of my watch, so we are over our time.
Sounds about right.
Again, plenty of news to go through. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Tell us what you guys are thinking about in terms of the Android realm. Android is a community. The community is about conversations. Let's continue that conversation. You'll find me on Google Plus and over at the AndroidColiseum.com website.
Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere else, just message me. I'm on there.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Martin, and thanks everybody there.
No problem. Take care, guys.